Now, do you want to know what 5 generations of inbreeding does? Well, stick around because I'm about to tell you all about the most inbred family here in Australia, called the Colt clan. Now, the Colt name is actually not their real last name, and all their first names as well are not their first names, because the law in New South Wales here has stated that they do not want these people to be fully revealed for who they really are. So this video today is about the most inbred family here in Australia, the Colt clan. Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. If you don't know what's going on here, well, I'm certainly not going to be sitting here condoning hooking up with your family members, but I am a horror artist and I like to draw what I talk about in the videos. So I like scary, twisted shit, all that creepy sort of stuff and paranormal, and I actually like to just draw an illustration about what I talk about in the videos. Now, I do kind of have a little bit of a sponsor for today's video, and I have knocked back quite a few sort of sponsors. I haven't had many. I will only push what I have tried and tested myself. Now, I have been really interested in these grounding underlays, and I actually bought one and I've had it for the last couple of months, and I have actually noticed a dramatic difference in the way that I sleep. I've never been a good sleeper, and this thing has helped me when I do wake up go back to sleep. I go back to sleep. Like, it is amazing, because like that doesn't happen to me. I can't switch my brain off, even if it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and I get up and I'm like dopey. As soon as I get up, I'm wide awake, I go back to bed and I just toss and turn for a couple of hours or so. So that this thing has, I have tested it. I was very skeptical, very skeptical, and after testing it and that, I am very sold on the product. And they did offer me a code for anyone who is interested in potentially purchasing a grounding underlay. So what this thing does is it basically grounds your body. It takes all the inflammation out of your body. It stops you from peeing so many times during the night and all that type of stuff. It's good for it basically replicates you going out into the yard and getting all that energy from the earth, and it just grounds you. And we miss all that because we walk around with shoes and we just don't play outside like we used to. So this thing replicates it, and you're laying on it for 8 hours, and honestly, it's truly amazing. And if I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't be pushing it. That's the God honest truth. So if you're interested, I will have a code on the screen, and you will get a bit of a percentage off as well if you decide to purchase your own grounding mat from Down to Ground. So yeah, if you're interested and you want to support a company that is supporting my channel, go right ahead and you will experience the benefits of a grounding underlay. Now, with that being said, let's finally get on with the video and let's get on with the drawing. In 2012, the Colt family were discovered by police and welfare workers on a farm that smelt like piss and shit, that laid in buckets in close proximity to where they slept, and they had 20 dogs and various other animals. They had been detached from society and living in rural New South Wales. So let's now untangle the family tree and start at the very beginning on how this complete shit show started. June was born in 1948 in New Zealand. She was the child of a brother and sister. 18 years later, she met Tim Colt in 1966, and they had 7 children: Martha, Frank, Paula, Cherry, Rhonda, Betty, and Charlie. They then made a move to Victoria, Australia in the 70s, but the family was known to relocate a fair bit. In the 90s, they relocated between South Australia and Western Australia as Victorian locals became highly suspicious of what was going on. Then they made another move to New South Wales, 30 kilometres outside of a small town called Burrawa, which is 3.5 hours from Sydney. During this time until 2012, the Colt clan inbred up and became nearly 40 members consisting of mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, sons, daughters, all engaging in incest activity. Tim Colt focused a lot on his daughter Betty at 12 years old and ended up having 13 children with her. Many of the children born suffered from deformities, medical issues, and intellectual problems, and even walked with a shuffle. Some kids also tortured animals in their spare time. The living conditions on the farm were absolutely disgusting. No one had access to a toilet, running water, or electricity, and the clan were living in tents, caravans, or sheds. No one was clean, especially the children, and most had fungal infections and were malnourished, had rotten teeth, hearing issues, and dysmorphic facial features. The kids didn't attend school a lot, but Betty apparently homeschooled them, but they could not read or write due to the brain function levels just not being very good. Children were involved in sexual activities with just about every family member, so someone's uncle could be their father, so it did become a complete clusterfuck when the web of the Colt family had to be untangled. All members, including the children, were highly sexual, which was encouraged by the adults. Once Betty and Charlie, who were brother and sister, grew up, they allegedly had 12 children together. Everything started to fall apart though when one of the children was at school and was overheard by another student in the playground saying that they didn't know which of her brothers got her sister pregnant. This chain of events led police to the property to investigate. Brother and sister Martha and Charlie were arrested first, and they even had children together as well, followed by Rhonda and Frank. Then Betty and her children Derek, Raylene, and Frank's son Cliff were all arrested as well. June and Tim were no longer around, with June dying in 2001 and Tim dying in 2009. This case was labelled the worst incest case in Australia's history and possibly the world. It took 6 years to DNA test all 11 children in the camp to untangle the family tree and see which sibling/parent had produced them. The family tree is so convoluted, I will have a picture on the screen of the family tree, so just pause it if you want to see who's who in the zoo. Tim was really running an incest farm, with him initially targeting his 12-year-old daughter at the time, Betty, and the rest of the females that June and Tim had children with their own father. Tim and the other boys in the family also had kids with their sisters, making their children also their nieces and nephews. Are you following me? It is extremely confusing, and I'm trying to simplify it as best that I can, but it is extremely messed up. Tim also apparently fathered a child with his granddaughter, Raylene's child, Kimberly, making him a huge incest pedo as well. Once welfare and police got involved and the children removed, once they had placed them with foster carers, these children had no idea how to use a toilet or shower to keep clean and had to be taught. As they got older into adulthood, things for them got a little bit better and they learned how to keep personal hygiene good, but they still did rear the scars from their depraved past. These people also looked older than their real age, and some had misaligned eyes and other wonky facial features. Betty, the oldest of June and Tim's children, who is now in her 50s, was convicted of incest and perjury and perversion and sentenced to 14 months in jail. Then she received a further 12 months for trying to kidnap 2 of her sons from foster care. She would tell her sons that they were gorgeous and flirt with them on the phone. Betty is also never allowed to see her children again. Rhonda received 14 months in prison and Raylene received 16 months intensive correction order for perjury. Her brother Derek received nearly 4 years in prison in 2020, but Charlie was acquitted of all 27 charges. One of the youngest children, Ruth Colt, Martha's daughter, who is now 19, took to social media to ask her Uncle Charlie if he was her uncle or father, and posting that she felt lonely and missed her siblings. Once June died, Betty and Martha became the matriarchs of the Colt clan. In the early years, the Colt clan would travel around playing at country music festivals as they had a band, Tim being the lead singer. All women who were pregnant never had doctors' visits to avoid judgment, but when the nurses, doctors and social workers were called on to assist in the case, they were truly shocked and traumatized by what they saw, and they said that they would never get over it. There had been rape, physical abuse, and children that could not fit into society. The incestuous family history of the Colts looked like it could possibly go back more than 5 generations, which was on June's side, as her parents were siblings. In total, 8 members of the Colt family between the ages of 29 and 50 were charged. Just imagine a whole family of nearly 40 members all living together and all being related upon related upon related upon related, and etc. and etc. America also has their most inbred family too, named the Whitakers. This family resides in the rural mountain town of Odd, West Virginia, that has a population of around 779 people. The Whitakers' surviving members are Betty, Lorraine, and Ray, who are all siblings, with cousin Tim, and they all communicate with grunts and squawks, but seem to understand the English language. Incest has been a part of the rich and famous, as well with royal family members being inbred. There was apparently a distinct Habsburg jaw that was a telltale sign of inbreeding in the royal families. The most powerful royal family of the 17th century medieval period, the House of Habsburg, were destroyed by generations of inbreeding because of the severe defects that stopped them from functioning in royal duties, leading to early deaths and infertility. The Habsburg jaw signs of inbreeding were the big lower lips, long noses, and that distinct jaw. This happened so that they kept their bloodlines pure, but it was just creating genetic abominations. So if we can take anything away from today's video, it's please don't touch your family members. It's fucking disgusting and just wrong. It shows that genetics can shape health outcomes if it's way too close. You can't be that desperate and not find someone out there in the 8 billion other people that are on this planet. So let me know your thoughts on this case and this inbreeding family that were discovered here in Australia. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, the illustration that I decided to do for this one today was of this inbred woman, and I tried to do her facial features as munted as possible, and she has given birth to an equally munted child who is also, inbred and has some facial features that are not good, and you can tell it's, just completely inbred. And she's just sitting on this chair. There's blood pissing down from the chair because she's just given birth. She just pulled it up and then stuck it on her lap. And yeah, that's the image that came to me when I was, researching this case. But anyway, that is it from me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Dislike it, I couldn't give 2 shits what you do, because any interaction that you give me goes towards the algorithm for other people to find me. And hopefully stick around and watch whatever is left of this video to see how the illustration turns out. And hopefully I see you guys in the next one. Bye.